Fellow Toastmasters. Years ago, there were some odd little cartoons, way before some of your time. One of them was about a young inquisitive boy named Sherman. And he had a little pal, a little sidekick, named Mr. Peabody. Now, Mr. Peabody was a talking dog, and he was pretty smart. He was really smart, as a matter of fact. He was much smarter than Sherman. And Sherman would ask these questions, and Mr. Peabody may not know the answer, so what they would do is they would hop into their Wayback Machine, and they'd go way back in time to try and find out the answer. Now, another little cartoon of this time was about kind of a stupid talking walrus, and his sidekick was a talking penguin. The walrus was Chumley, and the penguin was Tennessee Tuxedo. They both always had all kinds of questions, and again, wanted to improve their life, and so they figured if they could go somewhere else or do something, they could improve their life. They would go ask this professor certain questions about history and how they could change and improve their life. The professor would go over, he would open up this closet. As soon as he'd open the door, all this junk would fall out and just smash down on top of him. Basketballs, baseballs, tennis rackets, water skis, snow skis, you name it. Everything fell out of this thing. And he'd be down in this rubble, moving around and doing stuff, and all of a sudden, ah! Here it is! The 3D BB. That's a three-dimensional blackboard. He would take the blackboard and he could open it up, stretch it out to whatever he wanted, and he'd start writing on this blackboard, and whatever he wrote and whatever he drew, those characters would come alive. And they would tell the story of history. Now, there was another cartoon, again about the same era. It was a talking turtle. This turtle's name was Tooter. Tooter Turtle. He too was never happy with his life. He knew that if he could do something else with his life, or if he was someone or somewhere else, his life would be better. And so he would always go to his friend, Mr. Wizard. Help, Mr. Wizard. I want to be a guard in the English Guardian of the Queen or something. And so the wizard would take his magic wand, he'd tap him on the head, poof! Tooter Turtle was gone, back in history somewhere, and in whatever character he had imagined. Now, every time these guys would go back in time, something would get screwed up. It never worked out the way they planned. It started off fine, all excited, everything was great, and then something would kind of go askew. And it wasn't very long, and they would be running for their lives. Pretty quick, you would have Tooter Turtle, help, Mr. Wizard! I don't want to be a whatever anymore. So, if we think about that, what do we get from that? What we get from that is going back to the dawn of time, when I was a kid. People then even weren't happy with their lives. They knew that if they could do something different, or if they could go back in time and change something they did, or change something they said, their life would be better. Well, I hate to tell you, there is no Wayback Machine. There is no 3D BB. There is no little wizard with a magic wand. But I've got good news for you. I do have something that is just the greatest thing you can imagine. It's a magic dry erase board. Now, I've got one, and I'm going to be very generous. I'm going to give one to each one of you. All you have to do is go back to when you were a little kid and pretend and imagine your dry erase board. Now, here's mine right here. It's awesome, isn't it? Isn't it beautiful? It's gorgeous. The colors are awesome. How about yours? Do you like yours? Look at yours. Do you like it? You should. You should love the colors because you imagined it. I would hope you like it. And it's very cool because You know, you can get up in the morning and you can say, you know, I don't like my life. Write it down on your magic dry erase board. You can say, I don't like my wife. You can write it down. You can say, I don't like Bob. You can write it down. You can be like me many years ago and you can say, I don't like my job. Now the cool thing about this magic dry erase board is it has all kinds of magic markers. They never go away. They never run out of ink. You don't even have to pick them up. You just start writing and there it is in your hand. So you can take a quiet one, a little quiet color, and you can write, I don't like Bob. And nobody will even know that you did that. Or, in my case, years ago, you can grab a really loud one and say, I hate my job! Now, you're thinking, what good does that do you? Well, you can put it up there and look at it. And then you can start writing what you don't like about your job. I don't like the commute. I don't like my boss. I don't like the customers. You can also erase it, and you can put a line under I hate my job, and put a line down the middle, and you can put what you do like about your job on one side, and you can put what you don't like about your job. So you can do whatever you want with your magic erase board. So, if we were to take this board and write down what we don't like, and stay over on that side, we're going to be kind of grouchy all the time, aren't we? But I told you, this is a magic dry erase board. So if we were to go around to the other side, so if I were to get around, hang on. I imagine it, I think, I'm going to imagine it over here a little bit. There we go. Much better. Okay, now, we come around to this side of our magic dry erase board, and on that side we wrote, I hate my job. And when you look at it from this side, it says, what can I do to make my job better? You look at it on that side, it says, I hate my boss. What can I do to become the boss? It might say on this side, why don't you go back to school and earn your degree? You said over here, I hate the commute. On this side, it might say, why don't you move? That's what I did. Years ago, I got sick of the 15-mile, 2-hour commute. So I moved up to Lakeport. Now, everywhere where I want to go is still 2 hours. But at least I'm driving. I'm not stuck in traffic. And I love it up here. See, I changed my life. Now, you can do whatever you want. You can stay on this side over here. And you can hate your life. You can hate your job. You can hate everything. Or you can come over here and you can maybe take some classes and improve yourself. Now, if you're improving yourself, you might be in a class where you're going to meet the president or the owner of some company. And he might look at you and say, you know something? You are just the exact kind of motivated, happy, wonderful person that wants to improve their life that I need in my company. And they just might hire you. Now, if you stay on this side of the board, and you're always mad, seriously, who do you think is going to want to hire you? Who do you think is going to want to promote you? Who the heck is going to want to even be around you? No one. That's who. So, you've got a choice. You remember the old saying, you must have got up on the wrong side of the bed. Well, maybe you did. But whatever side of the bed you get up on, if you were to look at your dry erase board every single morning and just go, I hate my job, but then come around to this side and say, well, what am I going to do about it? Every now and then you might wake up in the morning and say, hey, that's gone. It's no longer there anymore. Well, you might have erased it, or just by taking care of this side, it might have magically gone away. So you can change your life. Now, just like with our little animated characters of those cartoons from the years past, you cannot change the past. But if you try, and you think about it, and you make the effort, and you look at things from the proper perspective, you can change your future.
Cool.